Hi, my name is Arnold, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how you can create messy ropes. For this tutorial you have to download Reeper. It's a free plugin. For the Reeper we need to use spline wrapper. For the spline wrap, add that to the Reeper, and in the Reaper you can add for instance, a circle. In the spline wrap we want to make things messy. First we want to make it really varied in how the size are being produced. That's something. Here you can do whatever you like. Let's go down to rotation and rotate it to here. And then we can just duplicate this Reaper. We put the circle on top. Since Cinema 4D is working from the top to the bottom, it's good to have this organized. In the copy of the Reaper, we add the other Reaper. That should also be messed up. And just turn this around and you can see that now I'm going to make a new copy, and in the new copy I add the later Reaper, and in the Reaper we can change the coils, how many coils there is, and maybe how many strands, and the distance. You can see where this is going. Let's go back, maybe change this to 3 bands. How can we render this real effective? You could always use sweep and sweep the spline that has been made. But if you are using Redshift or Arnold, it's much better to use the Arnold tag or the Redshift tag. If I go to the Arnold parameter, I can create a mesh without losing viewport speed. This has a thickness of 1, and I want to change the ribbon mode to thick. And if I add a light with a physical sky just to see this, I can render the messy spline here. For the project I did, I spent a lot more time on perfecting the messiness. And then if I go into the materials, I can add a rope material. Let's change the exposure. And then with the material I can go into and see how that is looking. This is downloaded from Quixel Bridge. For dynamic object, you have to use the original UV coordinates. So you can change the scale if you want to get more details, but you will not get really the rope look. If you have a static object, then you can use tree planner to get some rope details across the surface. So in this case we're using tree planner. And for stuff that comes from Megascans, they are always putting the wrong roughness. So turn off diffuse roughness and turn on specular and add it to the roughness. And for the normal, I need to connect that to displacement is the last one. So now we have a material that is working as a rope. I see that the thickness is changing, and we don't want that in our rope. So if I go into the Arnold tag and rise the thickness curve. That will help, and also this distribution will help. We want also a little bit more dynamics. To get that more dynamic in a spline object, we can use the utility node. The utility node is really great. It's one of my favorite tools in Arnold. I go into the shading mode as flat because we want only the color, and change the color mode to uniform ID. What the uniform ID is doing, it's every strand gets its own color, and that's really great. So now we have as much dynamics as we want. If I'll create a layer RGB and add the albedo into the input, and then add the utility into the input, and let's take a look. And I see that this has to be connected with the tree planner, and the tree planner has to be connected to the color. And let's take a look at that. We can mix this together, maybe with some soft light, or if it's too many colors, that wouldn't work. But we can maybe add it as a geometric, and just introduce a little bit of the dynamic shift in color. And then we can render this. A handy way to differentiate the different strands. And then we have the second layer. That will be that every time there's a new spline object, I want that in a different color too. So if I go to uniform and object ID, now it's just one color. I can connect that with input tree, current setting to object, move that along, add the Arnold tag and material, and you see that it's a totally different color. Now if I go in and blend that too, we get some more orange colors in the one on the left, and a little bit more blue in the one on the right. And then if I make a new object, move that around, then we have a totally different color. And this will quickly make it way more detailed and dynamic. So hopefully you got some cool tricks from this video. That's all, and have a good day.